a NATO-style peace deal on the Middle East, especially on Saudi Arabia and Israel. Today we discuss.
Welcome to Venezuela Insider, the only place in Venezuela for expats, digital nomads, entrepreneurs, investors, travelers, and related internationals. For more information, venezuelainsider.com.
Recently, there have been some discussion of a probable peace deal on the Middle East, especially between Saudi Arabia, that is the de facto leader of the Muslim world and Arabic world on the whole region, and of course Israel, that had major turmoils with their Arab neighbors. This particular deal was unthinkable just a few years ago. However, according to Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, we are every day closer to this peace deal, and also the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that is delighted of this process. And of course, this issue comes back from the 1940s on the land between Israel and Palestine. Right now, Palestine is not a fully recognized nation all over the world. Israel occupies parts of the West Bank, that is one of the territories of the Palestine nation, and most of these areas are fully militarized by Israel. And the biggest issue is with Jerusalem. Israel has de facto full control of Jerusalem. So this situation is very particular. It has brought a lot of turmoil, a lot of migration, even some dead people on both sides and actually on the whole region. However, we are closer to finally having peace on this particular region of the world. Right now, a deal is on the works that it should be fair for each side. For Israel to finally having peace after having fought a bunch of wars, the Palestinian people that had suffered a lot and their standards of living are very poor and had been very poor on the past decades, and finally the rest of the Arab nations in order to have diplomatic relationships with Israel. Just a few years ago, on 2020, we had the Abraham Accords. It was helped, of course, by the United States, and with these accords, the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain restarted diplomatic relationships with Israel, something that was unthinkable years ago, and right now Israel is starting to make peace with most of their Arab neighbors. A future peace deal with Saudi Arabia can be a game changer for this entire situation. Like I said earlier, Saudi Arabia is the de facto leader of the Muslim world and the Gulf region, so making peace with Saudi Arabia and having diplomatic relationships, that will mean that Israel is finally part of the Middle East and can trade or have many normal relationships that most countries have all over the world. And of course, the United States is playing a significant role on this peace deal. This is something that is supported by both Democrats and Republicans. Remember, the United States has great relationships with both Israel and most of the Arab nations like Saudi Arabia and the rest of the Gulf region. Let's discuss which are the demands from each side. Apparently, Saudi Arabia wants an Article 5 commitment with the United States that will mean that an attack on Saudi Arabia soil, it will be considered an attack on U.S. soil. So it will be similar like the NATO pact, that if one of the nations is attacked, the whole nations are attacked and they have to respond militarily. Also, Saudi Arabia wants a non-NATO designation that it will make Saudi one of the major NATO allies, like some nations have this particular designation all over the world, so that will increase the security levels for the Saudi soil. And also Saudi Arabia wants to develop their own nuclear program according to the U.S. Atomic Energy Act. And lastly, I have to mention that they are negotiating on behalf of the Palestinian cause. However, the Palestinian representatives are playing an important but a secondary role on this deal. Israel, what they want is keep the West Bank settlements. They want, of course, the peace deal with Saudi Arabia. That is a de facto peace deal and a diplomatic relationship deal with the rest of the Arab world, but they don't want veto power for the Palestinian authorities. Something very important regarding this deal is the IMEC corridor. This will be a corridor that connects India, of course, connecting Asia with the Middle East, and finally through Europe. This corridor will be very important because it will connect India with the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Israel, and using the Haifa port on Israel, it will play a crucial role on worldwide economic trade. It will facilitate the transportation of different goods throughout Europe and Asia, and it will make more efficient the supply chain between these areas. Right now, any given container ship between India and Western Europe takes around 30 days, and with the application of this IMEC corridor, it will make significant easier, cheaper, and faster transportation of goods and services between Asia and Europe. It will take only 16 days, so almost half of the time that using the standard routes that most of them go by the Suez Canal. And the IMEC corridor will be straight up in competition with the BRA initiative, the Belt and Road Initiative by China. So it will be competition on the Chinese proposal that is actually on development at the moment, and the IMEC corridor that favors more China. So India will be very important on this particular peace deal. Now, everything looks good. At the moment, we are poised to have this major peace deal between the whole region of the Middle East. India will be interested as well, and also many Western nations, of course, including United States and Western Europe. However, it's not as easy as it sounds, because each part has to give a little bit some requirements that are non-negotiable or historically on recent history hasn't been negotiable for them. Now, today, by the way, I'm not consulting for this particular peace deal. However, I'm going to give a mock-up of how I think the peace deal will be ended up. So let's start by the Saudi counterpart. They will receive the non-NATO designation, I believe. However, they will not receive the Article 5 designation, so it wouldn't mean that an attack on Saudi soil, it will be retaliated by the US military. However, you don't want to mess with the Saudis if they have this non-NATO designation. Also, they will be granted to have the nuclear program, but with lesser significant role. So I don't think they will be able to develop a nuclear weapon. However, they will be able to experiment and maybe develop something similar. I'm not a nuclear scientist. Please bear with me. They will have the de facto peace on the whole region, and also they will be negotiating diplomatic relationships with their biggest diplomatic enemy, that at the moment is Iran, or they will have enough leverage in order to establish diplomatic relationships with Iran as well. The Saudis will get to keep the West Bank settlements, the fully control of the whole territory of Jerusalem. However, they will ease the military presence on the West Bank and also hold the new settlements on the West Bank. And of course, they will get back having peace with Saudi Arabia, diplomatic relationships, and de facto peace with the rest of the Middle East, excepting Iran, that is, they have their own thing going on. And finally, Palestine will get something as well. They will get full recognition of Palestine as a sovereign state by most nations, of course. They will have more freedom of movement, especially on the West Bank, less Israeli military presence. And also, I think they will have a very important Saudi investments on the country regarding infrastructure. Remember that the Palestinian people don't have a very good standards of living. And of course, I'm sure that the Saudis will make some important investments regarding infrastructure, but also humanitarian aid. And well, I'm playing, this prediction game, and this is the deal that I think could end up happening. So please bear with me. And I hope peace on the Middle East is finally a done deal on the next few years. As a humankind, we need this kind, of course, of process. It will be one of the landmarks of the 21st century. And I know, yet again, that is not my usual typical video on Venezuela Insider. However, this is a topic that is very important that we should know a little bit more as a humankind. And, well, it's up to you. If you like this kind of content, I cannot wait to read your comments below.
Thank you for watching Venezuela Insider. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on social media. You want to work with us, VenezuelaInsider.com. Thanks again, and have a nice day.